Hello traders, good day to you all. This is Tom Williams from Opteck, and today it is the 13th of November 2013. And this is the daily market review for the current market status. We had a trading session this morning. We did not have a lot of good potential trades, and we've participated in 3 trades. Right now, we've won a specific trade. We lost one, and we've got another one going on the silver. It's supposed to end during the session. It seems like it's going. It began dropping down, but it seems like it's bouncing back up again. Still expecting to see the outcome of that specific trade. We know that the current market status is not allowing us to participate in a large amount of trades. But we will try to deliver several good potential trades later on this trading session during using this daily market analysis. So let's go to the charts. From the session, we can see that we don't have a lot of issues going on in the market at the moment. The pound is continuing its strength upon the Japanese yen, and it is the strongest currency at the moment. Let's again pay attention to the pound versus the Australian dollar. See if we've got something new coming up over there. Okay, you can see that the market just in the perspective of the pound is moving somewhere. We can say that there's a potential for an uptrend over here. But we can't rely on that one yet. So going over the market, we saw that generally there's a very low amount of liquidity. In terms of announcements, we've got nothing important for now. Just received the announcement regarding the euro. Not an announcement but a speech. And we will have several announcements later on regarding the US dollar. Not so important ones, but the New Zealand will deliver an announcement at 9:45 GMT. So again, as I said during the live trading session, we do expect to see an additional liquidity driven into the market once the US market will begin its operation. But at the moment the market is just fluctuating a bit higher, a bit lower. Nothing important is happening at the moment. Let's see if we're approaching an important position on other currencies. So this scale is approximately equivalent to what we had during the webinar. The dollar is losing strength. Let's look at the index regarding the dollar. I said, and I'm expecting to see weakness on the dollar that will continue the corrective movement. Okay, so a move beyond the trend line that I've placed over here will indicate that we're continuing lower, will indicate that the dollar should lose additional strength in the market, and basically I'm expecting it to deliver the move once the US market will begin to operate. There will be a logical liquidity to the dollar. And again, it's all just staying in the same limits up until the US market. That is my assumption. The DAX and the CAC indeed dropped down from the session. Seems like they're still concentrated, and it appears to be that the markets, even in Europe, are expecting to see how the US market will open in order for them to react in some way. At the moment, nothing to base our trades on. Okay, let's go and see if we've got something special on one of the assets. the Australian dollar versus Japanese yen. Again, I've placed a trend line below this pattern, and I said that the Australian dollar should continue its weakness once we will have a liquidity. A liquidity will regain the logical structure in the market. In this case, we can see a structure of a corrective pattern climbing up, and is a great potential for this downtrend movement. At the moment, it seems like this is the potential. Once it will cross the trend line, then the RSI will be in a safer downtrend movement position, and we will be able to participate in that one. Although the Japanese yen, the Japanese yen is losing strength in front of a variety of assets, but it should gain its strength in front of the Australian dollar, which should express weakness in the market generally. Australian dollar versus the US dollar. Again, it's approaching a crucial point, approximately the same structure as the Australian dollar in front of the Japanese yen. As you can see, even our indicators aren't forming a formation that we can base our analysis and actually participate in a trade according to them. Definitely my advice to you is at the moment to leave the charts alone. No logical trade is forming. Seems like we've made a move over here that was expected to climb beyond the trend line, but we've received a failure and we've crossed the trend line back again. In terms of structure, I do expect the euro to gain strength, but at the moment, as you can see, the market is just fluctuating around the same levels, not forming a specific structure that we can base on. And the best advice that I can give you is not to trade today until we will have the US market reinforcing the market to form a logical structure, and then we will have a variety of opportunities on our indicators. At the moment, you can see that all the charts, almost all the charts, just fluctuate around the 50 level. In this case, that's the euro's perspective. We can see the same thing occurring in front of the dollar, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see that. Around the 50 level, around the 50 level, around the 50 level, 50 level, 50 level, 50 level. Just saying, do not trade today. At the moment, obviously, I do expect to see some liquidity added to the market, but right now, just showing that the market is not ready to deliver potential trades. And as I'm always saying, if the market is not ready to deliver potential trades, do not trade on it. We don't have to trade all day long whenever it suits our time frame. We need to trade according to the market's condition, and the current market's condition is implying that the market is not organized and not liquidized enough for us to trade on it. Even that trade, it appears to be a very accurate trade according to our strategy. The structure is not allowing me to base my opinion over here. No, nothing. So I'll just leave you with that. Today, at the moment, the situation of the market is that we've got a very low amount of liquidity. Although the pound gains some strength at a certain point during the trading session, we can't really use that liquidity because it wasn't expressed on in front of other currencies in a sufficient movement to allow us to catch certain movement as we need. The market is not ready to trade on today, and again, the US market may deliver some liquidity that will help us to join impulse movements. At the moment, the market is just forming corrective patterns backward and forward, bouncing without a specific direction. we can try to analyze the dollar index, and according to that I'll give you my perspective for the next several hours. That should give us some direction. So going backward, looking at the larger cycle that we had over here, going back, we know that we've crossed a very important trend line over here. I'm saying that because this trend line is the trend line of the entire downtrend movement that we saw for the last several months, 4 or 5 months. The market just bounced lower, and all of a sudden it changed its direction, adding strength to the dollar. Now, a usual structure of the Elliott wave analysis is an impulse movement of 5 waves and a corrective pattern that will drop down. And during this movement, we're expecting generally that the market will form a corrective pattern on a variety of assets. Let's first map that. We've got 5 waves climbing up and an A, B, C dropping down. In this case, I will show you that at the moment we've completed the A wave, we're forming the B wave, and we're expecting the dollar index to drop down. This downtrend movement will supply liquidity to the market, a weakness on behalf of the dollar. Generally, we do expect the market to return to the impulse movement, meaning an uptrend. Let's see that on the chart, and let's try to give an assessment regarding the potential according to the different issues that we're expecting to see. So, as I said, since this bottom over here, we had a 5 wave climbing up. We have a first wave uptrend, second wave dropping down, third wave climbing up, fourth wave bouncing on the trend line, and from this moment and beyond, we had a triangle that indicates that we're in not only in the potential to complete the 5 wave cycle, but also to have an additional downtrend movement with a large amount of strength. At the moment we can't see that strength appearing on the chart, but usually what happens with triangles, when they fail to form large amount of movement lower but only bouncing lower, in this case that's what we're seeing, then our expectation is that we will have a larger uptrend movement. That is the expectation for the next week, or even during the end of the week. You know that we've got an announcement regarding the unemployment, the unemployment claims, on Thursday, and we've got another announcement regarding the US dollar, and on Friday we've got a very important trading session as well. So that variety of announcements regarding the US economy will have the potential to deliver an uptrend movement on the dollar, gaining strength that will cross this trend line and begin a new wave up. So let's go to a low time frame and see, according to this small formation structure, where we at according to the logical Elliott wave analysis. Again, from this moment over here, I'm expecting to see 5 moves dropping down and an A, B, C pattern, that is the corrective pattern, and another 5 move dropping down. That is my expectation from this structure. From this point, we will see that on the lower cycle. I'm using the strength indication at the bottom so that I'll be able to assess where I'm at the cycles at the moment. Yesterday my assessment was that this is 1, 2, 3, and I'm expecting to see a 4 and a 5 dropping down a bit more before we will climb up to form this structure. Because we've already formed this structure, I can call this a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means the completion of 5 waves of the A wave, or I can even call it a 1, 2, 3, which is a common structure of A wave as well. But anyway, the completion of this downtrend movement is showing me that this is the potential for being the A wave dropping down. This A, B, and C pattern is the completion of the B wave over here, and my expectation is to see an additional downtrend falling down, expressing weaker dollar in the market. A cross below this trend line will indicate that indeed we're forming an downtrend movement and beginning to form the 5-wave sequence of a C wave. A C wave is almost always forming 5 waves downtrend, and our expectation is that this C wave will fall in the same length of the A wave, meaning that a logical downtrend movement will be toward this level, 80.76 or 80.83. I can even do another thing over here. I've got a variety of potential proportions that I can use, showing me the logical target for the completion of the C wave. So the first one is an equivalent length to the A wave dropping down over here, a downtrend on the dollar. Again, why I'm doing that, because from this point and beyond until we will reach this area, I'm expecting the dollar to lose strength in the market, meaning the gold and the silver to climb up, meaning the dollar to lose larger amount of strength in front of the pound and the euro, which are among the strong currencies, even the Swiss franc. And from this moment and forward, I will expect to see stronger dollar in the market. That is the assessment at the moment. A drop down according to the proportion using the A wave is a logical drop down till here. Another assessment that we can use is the base of the triangle. The base of the triangle, this is the length of the base of the triangle, and it should drop in the same length from the top of the triangle. So we've got a specific area over here for a target to complete the C wave. Another thing that we can do we can count the waves of the uptrend that we had. A logical completion of this downtrend movement will appear at the bottom of the 4th wave, or the top of the 4th wave. It depends on the structure of the 5th wave. In this wave we've received a triangle, and in this condition both limits may deliver the target for the C wave completion. So again, we're basically aiming toward the same area. So a 5-wave dropping down until this field will indicate that the C wave has completed its structure, and we're pointing our potential for an uptrend. Now, during our webinar, it seems like the dollar is indeed losing strength at the moment in the market. Let's go and see if we can express that beginning of weakness in front of any currency in the market. So the weakest currency at the moment is the Australian dollar, but we're not looking for the weakest currency, but the strongest one to express the weakness that we're expecting to see on the dollar. The strongest currency is the pound. It seems like the pound is regaining its strength in front of the Japanese yen, but going to 5-minute chart, I'm sure that it will show us, indeed, that we've only formed an A wave, a B wave, and expected C wave to drop down before we will climb back up again. So again, it is just a phase in the middle of a movement. We can't rely on that one for now. Let's look at the second in line of being strong currency. We're talking about the Swiss franc. So let's open, and that's a good thing. The Swiss franc, the dollar versus Swiss franc, we can call that a reflection of the dollar index. Let's look at the same structure on the dollar versus the Swiss franc. Okay, so the same thing happened over here. We've received a triangle just as we've received on the dollar index. Okay, again, we've received from this peak, we've received a downtrend of an impulse movement, an A wave, an A, B, C, that is the completion of the B wave, and we're expecting to see a downtrend that will be delivered once we will cross this trend line. In the meanwhile, at the moment, it seems like the best option that we've got in the market. Once we will cross this trend line, it'll be the only trade that I see a potential using the idea of Elliott wave and the idea of the correlation between the different assets. I would even say that this asset, this downtrend movement, has a larger potential to drop down than the dollar index. First of all, we can see that the length of this downtrend movement is logical and more logical than the dollar index, because indeed, counting the length issue, we know that we're indeed dropping down and reaching the fourth wave structure. This is a more logical structure than the dollar index. So definitely a downtrend below this trend line will indicate a good potential for a downtrend movement. Take it as long as you can, because we've got the potential for dropping down. The market, because of the low liquidity, may bounce a bit higher, a bit low before it will do that, but I'm expecting the same perspective in terms of length and in terms of time, meaning that this downtrend occurred in 5 hours, then our expectation is to see a downtrend movement from this moment and beyond once we cross the trend line for 5 hours as well. Usually, and that's what we had during yesterday's session, the market was blocked around this trend line. It'll be amazing if we'll see the same thing happening over here. We had a bounce lower before the US market began to operate, bouncing against a trend line and forming a corrective pattern around the trend line once the US market began its operation, and once the US market expressed weakness yesterday, then we saw that this downtrend movement continued lower. The same, I'm expect to see the same formation over here. Downtrend bouncing on the trend line, maybe a bit below that, maybe a bit higher than that. And once the US market will be organized and will express weakness today, then I'm expecting this chart to drop down a bit more. Usually, we've got a diverse correlation between the US market and the dollar itself. What we've got today is a very special situation. On one hand, I'm expecting to see weakness on the US economy. Indices I'm expecting to drop down a bit, expressing the worry about what's going on, what will be delivered on Thursday regarding the debt issue, regarding the bond purchasing on behalf of the government, on behalf of the federal bank, sorry. And because of that, I'm expecting a lot of traders to pull funds from the market, expressing their fear of what will be of the outcome that we're expecting to see on Thursday. It's a logical scenario. We can see that this scenario can be reflected through the charts, but the thing that I wanted to talk about is the current condition where, on one hand, the dollar lost strength in the market. It's just bounced lower, correcting an impulse movement that we had over here, that was expressing only the strength of the euro in the market. It wasn't expressing um, the movement that we had on the US economy. In this case, we see that the dollar is bouncing lower and returns to the same position as it was before the announcement from the European Central Bank. And this is why I'm saying this is a special situation, because as I said, usually the correlation between dollar and the US market is diverse. A stronger dollar meaning a weaker economy, and the other way around. But because of this move that it appeared, because not because of the US market, but because of general strength and weakness regarding the euro, in this case we know that the dollar will return to the same formation, and only then we will see the correlation between the US economy and the US dollar forming the same logical correlation as they did before. A stronger dollar will continue the downtrend movement on the economy in the United States. That is my expectation at the moment from the US market and from the US dollar. Unfortunately, I'll have to leave you with that. Not a lot of information, but we've got something to prepare to once the US market will begin to operate. A good trade, again, the dollar Swiss franc, once we'll cross this trend line, we will have a nice downtrend fulfilling the C wave of the entire corrective pattern. I would definitely stay out of the markets once we'll reach this field. In binary option, we're not looking for large trends, support and resistance line in order for us to trade on them, but they are a warning sign, just as I'm saying over here. A cross below or a bounce on top of this trend line before the US market will begin to operate will indicate that we should wait a bit more until the market will receive its decision. A trend line, a support and resistance line in the binary option market is a warning sign, of confusion. Once we'll cross that, then we can participate in a trade, but we can't trade before that. So we need this approval of a downtrend below the trend line to give us the signal that indeed traders will join a weakness on the dollar, and that will appear on the dollar Swiss franc as well. Again, from here, from Opteck, I would definitely like to wish you all the best with your trades, and remember, we don't have to trade all day long. Sometimes the market is not there, it's not forming issues that we can analyze, and you can see that the RSI even over here is around the 50 level. We will have lower RSI once we'll cross the trend line, a larger amount of confidence, and an impulse movement that will fulfill this C wave downtrend movement. If you'd like to be more careful with a trade, and definitely these are the current situation is a condition where you should be more careful. I would even go to a 5-minute chart. Once we will have a downtrend, after that we will have an A, B, C corrective pattern. Let me draw that over here. Let's say that this position is over here. I just can't place arrows where I don't have information on the chart. So let's say that this is the case. So we will have a downtrend movement. That downtrend will be followed by an A, B, C pattern. What I'll do is I'll draw a trend line below the corrective pattern on a lower time scale. Across below that will begin the third wave of the C wave, which is usually the strongest and the more confident movement that we can receive from the market. So that will be the safer position. Being a professional trader is investing larger amount of investment in lower amount of trades, and this will be the perfect trade, the only trade that I can vouch for as much as the market is allowing me to. That is it for today. I wish you all the best with your trades, and obviously if you need assistance, just send a request through the Skype and we'll be able to assist you through the brokers or through my Skype. Thank you, all the best, and bye bye.